Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation, and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. Let go of negative thinking and stop living for the weekend. With your host, Fran Excel.
So welcome to the show. As always, it's Fran Excel Mindset Coach, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way and live a life that you love. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm very grateful you've chosen to put me in your earbuds today. Please do hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything, and do leave me a review. I love reading them, and it really helps me get found by other people who need to hear what I share. I'd also love you to email me your mindset and productivity questions or topics you'd love me to cover to hello@franexcel.com, because I know a lot of you think I'm inside your heads because you tell me all the time. But if I don't know what you need, I can't give it to you. So let me know. You are not here to be average, to fit in. You're just not. The very fact that you're listening to or reading this shows that. Screw average. I can use that word a lot. Try not to swear. We spend so much of our lives trying to fit in, but fitting in is exactly that. Average. You were meant to stand out in the best way possible for no other reason than you're being yourself completely. Sounds scary? So I've got a personal one coming your way today that I hope will make you have a good long think about where things like this might be showing up for you. So I was on a call with my meditation mentor yesterday, and we got talking about the mind-body connection. You know, one of the presuppositions of NLP is that mind and the body are a linked system. We know this, and how often the cause of illness or certain ailments that we can have is actually linked to something emotional. So often stress, we all know the cause of stress and on our physical health and things like that, but also it's often linked to some sort of incident in your past. You know, this is all information for another day, as it's a huge subject in itself, but have a Google. It is absolutely fascinating. Sandy Newbigging is the author of Mind Calm and Body Calm, and he has a wealth of information around all of this, and he is my mentor. He is awesome. Go check him out. So I have had a few health issues over the last few months, and I've got a lovely operation coming up in March. So it makes sense that this would come up in our session. So we started working on what potential incident in my past could have linked to this. And I know if you've not read anything into this before, it can sound a little bit far-fetched, but stick with it. When you study the unconscious mind, NLP, hypnosis, any of that stuff, all the other juicy stuff that I study, then it's actually a very, very obvious place to go. So stick with me. Now, your subconscious mind can be so helpful. Check out the other episodes that I've done on intuition. And well, I mean, I talk about the subconscious mind in most episodes, but intuition is a really, really big one. And it'll always give you what you need. So it's basically stored everything from your life in there for you to access when you need it. You know, all of it, all your recorded experiences, if you like, have formed your habits, your beliefs, your thought processes. Basically, it rules your life. So when you can learn to work with it and be curious about what comes up when it comes up, you can make significant changes and moves towards everything that you want. So, and you can also get rid of any beliefs, emotions, and ties to things that you know hold you back. So here comes my favorite quote again from Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Just love it. So it's a case of asking yourself the right questions, asking yourself powerful questions, and noticing what comes up. You know, you can literally ask your subconscious mind and it will deliver you a thought, a memory, whatever it may be. You know, you'll always get an image or a particular random memory that will seemingly come from absolutely nowhere. Notice when that happens, because it's happening all the time, because there's pretty much always a reason. So an incident came up for me in this session from when I was 11. And when we delved into how it made me feel and what it caused me to make it mean at the time, oh my goodness, what belief it created that I then used to run my entire life from that moment. Oh, goodness gracious. Now, it's a common experience that many, many people had around that age of being bullied and being judged. For me, it was specifically around food and the way that I looked. And if you've been listening to me for a while, you'll know that's always been one of my toughest nuts to crack. It's one of my most deeply ingrained things, shall we say. And I always love a weight loss analogy to demonstrate a point. And for me, it started as the emotions of hurt, sadness, shame, and guilt that made me feel there was something fundamentally wrong with me, and therefore I'm unlikable and unlovable. I mean, a biggie, right? So, from two mean girls who were just acting from their own unconscious programming, throwing me some shade, I got all of that. In that instant, when I first looked back to that memory, it was full, as if it was genuinely as if it instantly changed any previous beliefs around myself to what they thought of me. Because what they thought of me must be true, right? Can you see how critical it is to find out what these beliefs are and blast them out of the water as soon as you can? If you felt like that about yourself, hurt, sadness, shame, and guilt that made me feel there was something fundamentally wrong with me, and therefore I'm unlikable and unlovable, what actions would it lead you to take and not take? How would it make you show up to other people? How would it make you show up in relationships? How would it make you show up in friendships with people who did like and love you that you shunned because they weren't the cool kids? It wasn't their approval that you needed. Oh my goodness. What behavior would it make you take that didn't feel right just so you could be accepted by those cool kids who all peak in school, by the way? If you know any of the cool kids from school who are still one of the cool kids, please let me know. I'd love to know. How would it make you show up in your business when a prerequisite is to put yourself out there to be judged and know that everyone is not going to like you? How would that make you show up? Now, this is a belief I've done tons of work around, and thankfully, so it hasn't actually affected how I show up for years. And I really thought I'd blasted a lot of it out the water. However, I hadn't ever done anything related to this specific incident, this specific moment. The belief is one thing to work on, but the actual incident itself, think of it as the earliest memory that you have about that incident happening. This is where NLP can be such an amazing tool, because you can literally blast it out the water. So we distilled my big long belief into the real crux of it. So from hurt, guilt, shame, fundamentally something wrong with me, unlikable, unlovable. The real crux of it was I feel hurt and rejected and nobody wants to be my friend. Please remember I was only 11 years old when I formed this one. Bless me, it sounds so sad. I feel hurt and rejected and nobody wants to be my friend. Ugh. So what this caused me to do throughout my childhood, through school, university, my first job, my career, my relationships, genuinely probably until I was about 30, was try and fit in. And I can pinpoint hundreds of moments where this one core belief came into play. So whatever that meant in each situation, it was hugely important to me to do what was necessary to feel accepted and fit in with people. It meant that I didn't share my opinions. And we all know that I've got a few now, right? I was pretty quiet. I was very submissive. I did things that were fundamentally against my values and what I believed, but I made myself wrong in what I believed. Now, everyone else has to have been right, not me. I attracted friends who treated me badly, horrendous relationships, including an emotionally abusive one in my late teens, early 20s. I attracted bullies. I attracted horrible bosses. I got myself into scrapes I'm not proud of. Booze and boys were definitely my vices. But it was a belief that I had to be and act a certain way to be liked and loved or even accepted, because there was something fundamentally wrong with me, right? So I couldn't be myself. So can you see how I attracted all the things that confirmed my belief that I'm hurt, rejected, and people don't want to be my friend? Funny how that works, right? So remember, your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between good, bad, right, wrong. It just does everything it can to affirm your beliefs and send you evidence that you're right and keep you safe. So effectively what it did is it made me being myself dangerous. Yeah. Don't let anyone see who you really are or what you really think, or they'll reject you because there's something fundamentally wrong with you and you're unlikable and unlovable. You should be grateful for the people who, are happy to hang out with you or be in a relationship with you. And you should just accept the way that they treat you. It's what I deserve, right? Can you see how important this is? Can you see how a belief affects literally everything that you do, every way that you show up? So when we tackled this incident and proved it wrong on so many levels and did the necessary unconscious mind jiggery pokery, I had quite the realization that has kind of changed everything. And here it is. Screw fitting in. When fitting in means going against your values, who you are and what you believe, which it usually does, what is the flipping point? Yeah, the odds of you being here on this earth, right here, right now, were 400 trillion to 1. It is a freaking miracle. And so many of us waste it on things that we just don't need to. This is your life. Live it. Don't accept it. Don't, allow mediocrity. Live it. Yeah. I've wondered why I felt so heavy for a while in some areas of my business, and I've realized it's because I'm trying to fit in some way, which means I'm being average. It means I'm also allowing myself to be treated in some areas in ways I'm not okay with. Yeah, I realized the mirror between the cool kids at school and the cool kids in this industry, and I realized I absolutely don't want to be one of them. No judgment. It's just not for me. If anyone makes me feel like I should be anything less than who I am, then they are not my people. And it's exactly the same at school. I desperately craved their, I desperately craved their, not attention, but their acknowledgement, I suppose. Yeah? I don't need it. I didn't want to be like them. I actually didn't think they were very nice people, The people who pretend to be friends so they can get something from you. That is not for me. I always talk about how I like to do things my way and not follow gurus and only learn from people. I genuinely only learn from people with integrity. I have a little bit of a one strike and you're out rule, and then put my own spin on things. But I hadn't realized I was holding myself back there too. So expect some changes to be coming. It is time to let some things go. And it may be scary, it may be big, but actually, this is the first time I felt like completely, I don't like this word because so many fluffy people use aligned. I feel like it's right. It feels light. Yeah, and the first thing will be closing my Facebook group. I actually don't love hanging out on Facebook. It's not my natural habitat, should we say. I don't hang out in other people's groups or anything like that. I'm a voyeur. I attract voyeurs in terms of I like hanging out, and I sometimes, I like to read things if it appears in my feed, but I don't go into people's groups specifically to look for anything. I don't particularly comment very often, unless it's something that really warrants it. Yeah, it's just never really been my happy place. So why would I attract people who aren't the same? I'll still be posting on my business page and my personal profile. And it's not to say I won't open another group in the future. It's just not for me right now. It feels heavy. But I love Instagram. And then there's other people who love Facebook and they're just not big on the gram. So make sure you are following me over there at I'm Fran Excel, because I'm going to up my game there because it feels good for me. Yeah. I love my mastermind group. So I will be doing the early podcast recordings for them instead and taking questions and creating episodes based on what they want or need because it feels good. I will be doing more in person. I crave that genuine connection in person. I'm going to be doing more events and actually inviting people who book into one of my VIP intensive days to come to my home in Kent. It's only 1 hour out of London and we have an Airbnb. And I'm doing that because it feels real and it feels good. Yeah, it's how I like to work. We can go walk and talk. There's so many reasons why I want to do it. I'm finally going to be getting my journal out into the world. Even though people say, don't go low ticket, it's hard, you'll never make it. Screw that! It feels good. It's been calling, in inverted commas, me for years. People have been asking for it for years, based on a few of my episodes around journaling, in particular journaling for the non-Dear Diary type. I have printable versions, but I want the damn hard copy. And I know on my mission to help 1 million women love their lives and get everything that they want, it's going to be a big player, and it feels freaking good. I know people can listen to the podcast for free, and I'm always giving my best value, but I want to give them a real, tangible tool they can hold in their hands, so I can actually help make it as easy as possible for them to actually take action and change their neural networks and unconscious programming, whether they can afford my mastermind or one-on-one help or not. It feels freaking good. It's always felt heavy to me that so many people who need my help can't afford my help, because it's one thing listening to these things, and I get the most incredible messages from people who do go and take action on the back of the podcast. But when they don't, it breaks my heart a little bit. So I want to make it easy. So what are all the things that you do or don't do currently that don't feel good and keep you average, that keeps you small and in the fitting in bucket? What are you doing that just feels out of, I'll use the word again, alignment for you? It feels heavy and negative, that really, if you're being honest with yourself, you're only doing it because other people do, or because you'll fit in when you don't do it, or you're scared of what happens if you delete your Facebook group or anything like that. But really, really ask yourself these questions and see what comes up. Don't question it. Write it down and get curious. Yeah, who makes you feel heavy or less than? Stop following them. You can still be friends if you want to, without having to read their content if you don't agree or it makes you feel bad in any way. Be curious about why that is, sure, but just unfollow. That is the magic. When you're completely and utterly standing in your own worth, truth, values, whatever you want to call it, you don't even have to let people go if you don't want to. You can love them despite your differences, with your own set of values in place, and hope that how you are rubs off on them eventually. Now, I have friends in this industry that I fundamentally don't agree with how they do things. That doesn't mean we can't be friends. It's about becoming the observer of your own thoughts and judgments, and being okay if other people don't agree with you, because you're completely comfortable with who you are and what you believe. Yeah, from now on, it is all about real connection. Screw 6 figures in 6 months, screw 7 figures, screw all the freaking badges and labels that have been created to validate who you are in some way and where you fit in the pecking order. Screw perfection, screw comparison, screw the need to be a cool kid. They all peaked at school, remember? Screw the puppets still stuck on the strings of their mind, being run by their unconscious programming and insecurities. What they say about you means nothing. Success without fakeness, hallelujah, or being run by any kind of insecurity. All that for me, please. Don't run your business from a place of insecurity. Run it from a place of really knowing who you are. Yeah, it's not positive feedback to fit in the first place. Yet we're all trying to do it, because it just means you're being average. And you are not average, my friend. You want big things, and big things don't come from average. Screw average. Who are you without these bonkers random beliefs holding you back? Who are you? Go be that person. That is where the magic is. So what is your next action, my friend? What are you letting go of? How can you be more you? How can you get to know who you are? Yeah? Don't try to fit in when you were made to stand out. So, if you got value from this, and you know in your gut that now is the time to step up and start rewiring your thinking and changing things for yourself, then book in a free discovery call so we can work out what needs to happen to get you from where you're at right now to the action-taking success you know you can be. And if you want my eyes and ears on your problems, I work with people one-on-one and through my Proactive Pants Mastermind. So stop waiting for if and when and decide to change things now, because you can. And as always, I hope that was helpful. So any questions, just let me know. And as always, I will see you next week. Bye.